Hello. TheraSistersStL, we're back.
Yay! We're back. Another podcast. Here we go.
Yes.
Excited. So, me too.
Yeah. So what have you been up to? What's going on?
Getting ready for school to start.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I am
Already
ready.
went back to school shopping, got all the stuff. I also think my daughter likes to unwrap everything and put it in her backpack when I think we're supposed to actually give it to the teacher.
Oh, no.
So we'll see if we need to buy a couple things again. But she's excited. That's a good
Yes,
thing.
that is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yay. I didn't get to do the school shopping this year, which was fun.
Yeah.
Okay with that. Jim and Thomas did it.
Good.
And so I got to enjoy Montreal.
Oh, yay.
Yes.
Oh, good.
And yeah, I'm ready for the routine of school.
Same. Structure.
Yeah. And to have my own space back.
Definitely. Yeah. So today we are inviting Chris Scarberry to come and join us.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, join us. I say this
Yes.
every time in our posts.
In our groups, yes. Chris Scarberry, another licensed professional therapist? LPC?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
That is right. Hello.
Hello. Good.
Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
So your private practice is Healing Reflections Therapy, correct?
That's right.
Yay. And you started it in 2016.
Right.
Right? With your partner, Megan Garza, is that right? Awesome.
Well, we've actually had, there have been a couple incarnations, but yeah, we've had the practice together since, I believe, 21, and I've had a practice much longer.
Okay.
Myself.
Cool.
So 2016 was all you, and
Yeah,
then the
that was
two
it.
of you combined in 21.
Right, that's right.
Healing Reflections. Was it always Healing Reflections, or was it something before?
I usually just called it, I had historically called it Scarberry Therapy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That rhymes.
it does. Sort of.
Yeah. Well, and before that, you worked with mobile crisis interventions.
That is right.
And worked with BHR and
That's right.
some of
Yeah, I
your
was the mobile outreach
experiences.
person for them, and I was kind of the lead for a while, and I was there for 11 years.
I am curious about that. So, tell me what a typical, if it could be typical, a typical day would be as one of those mobile outreach people.
Okay.
Like what? I'm
All right.
curious.
Well, it would kind of, usually there was either a family member or a lot of times somebody would call for the client, that kind of thing. Like an institution would call, or like a family member would call, and we would go out to, we went to like jails, we went to private residences, schools, places like that, and then we would go and try to help stabilize the situation a bit. We did like a brief kind of crisis assessment with them, provided they were willing. And then we would kind of figure out what level of care needed to take place. And then we would facilitate that, whether that was helping get them hospitalized by like getting the whole transport going, by like getting the police involved, getting everybody out there and go to the hospital if that's what they needed.
Yeah.
Or if it was more like if they needed a lesser level of care, we had kind of an in to get them like an urgent screening appointment at the community mental health center. So then we just set them up with like a little treatment plan of, referrals and appointment and stuff. But yeah, it would kind of range from, people being just sort of, maybe not having financial means and needing services to like, more dire where like they're suicidal and they need to go somewhere.
Okay.
Or they're suicidal and they're a little ambivalent about going to the hospital, so they send us to kind of help finesse them going to the hospital.
Okay. And so, was that right out of like graduate school?
Yes, yeah, that
So
was
you
my
just
first job out of grad school.
You just threw yourself into the most intense mental health.
I did.
That's impressive.
That was my question too.
Yeah.
Like that's how you started your work as a therapist?
Yes, yeah, and I actually, it's funny to say that. Prior to that, my internship or my practicum during the master's program was with HIV positive men too. So I've always liked, I was going to make sure I mentioned that, but I've always liked, stuff that's more intense and challenging and populations that really kind of need like extra TLC.
Yeah.
Something that's kind of a bit of a, a test for me professionally that can help me grow. So keep it interesting.
I would think that was interesting. And keep you on your toes.
We need all kinds of services and all kinds of people to fall into these, these perfect fit places for what works for you, right? Like, I wouldn't be great at doing that, so it's good we have you.
Right. Yes. People
Right.
who can handle that kind of stress and intensity and
Yeah.
that calm energy. Yeah, you do have calm energy.
I think you said it to me before.
Yeah, you really do.
But, yeah, I try.
And so, 11 years, and then BHR crisis line, or was that all part of it?
Yeah, that was a BHR.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so when did you decide, to go into private practice? Were you
Well, I pretty much worked on it as soon as I feasibly could, and I grew it for a long time, and I actually it sort of came to a head because I was my stress level. I mean, I was basically working 2 full-time jobs, and I was like, okay, I can pull the cord finally and just have a private practice.
Yay!
And because I was working on it for for some years.
Yeah.
And then I finally got to where I was like, okay, I may not have the same income that I kind of hope to have eventually,
Right.
but I'm at least making as much as I have at BHR, so I can stop.
Yeah.
And at some point, you kind of take that leap, right? Because you can't do both for, if you want that full-time. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's true. Yeah, it's like doing 2 part-time jobs, and if you really want to focus on your private practice, at some point you have to
Mm-hmm.
take that leap of faith that it's going to keep growing, right?
Right. Which I feel like, I'm trying to think, the specific year that I got to that point, but I was finally like, okay, even if I have cancellations or whatever, it's only a couple of weeks, so I can plan, and I kind of know what's going to be.
Yeah.
And so you started your internship with gay men, HIV positive,
Right.
and then you just kind of carried that into your private practice. Has that been your focus?
That's pretty much. Well, I feel like I did try other hats, where there was a need and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Tried doing some work with kids, or work with people who are court mandated or different things. When I heard needs expressed, especially since I was in the not for profit realm, there were people saying they wanted different services and stuff. But I felt like the HIV positive gay men was the best fit for me, and the best draw as far as there's state funding and federal funding rather for HIV positive people. So I was able to get on with that, and then that was a good way to see them. I don't really see folks with that funding anymore, but I've also gotten some private pay and insured people who are HIV positive now.
Yes.
But it kind of evolved that way.
And that's a needed. that population has needs as well, right? And underserved on some level, I would think, especially when you started.
True.
Yeah.
Now it's a little different now than it was then. But there was definitely even more of a perceived need at that time. And there aren't a whole lot of folks that take the state coverage either. So since I took that was a good draw for, I did a lot of work and networking with the case managers that they see and stuff like that at that time. So.
Oh, good. So, like a team approach on some level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I still do things with some of them, and one of them's talking about having me go to their medical practices, one of their little events that they're having, and she wanted somebody to do a positive affirmations booth. And I thought that sounded really fun.
Yeah.
So I might go do that.
Oh, yeah.
And see what I can help people concoct.
Yeah. When is that?
In October.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully I can make that happen. I haven't talked to her about the particulars yet, but she pitched the ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully
Okay.
I can do it.
Yeah. Interesting. And so I'm hoping that HIV positive population is dwindling with all of the health improvements and medicine. And so how have you broadened your population, the people you work with?
Well, I really feel like...
Or am I wrong?
it's funny. It's kind of... I'm trying to think what the jumping off point was, but I got to a point where, all of a sudden I started putting in my promotional material, I'm worried that people think I only specialize and I'm not willing to see general clients and stuff like that. And so I changed my marketing materials a bit and things, and it was like, hey, I'm happy to see a variety of presenting problems. I have training and experience working with everybody too. And I feel like that's kind of opened things up more, which I enjoy now. I like the diversity of it. I like that I still specialize and have knowledge and experience with that. But at the same time, I see a lot more women now than I used to. a lot more folks that just want couples, like more kind of standard couples therapy and stuff like that than what I once did. Because my degree is in marriage and family therapy. It was an MFT program in California. So I do always kind of have that lens, so it's nice to be able to do some of that, like that informed work and do some actual family and couples work. So.
Oh, good.
So, yeah,
that's always needed.
Mm-hmm. And for a while, that was a good draw for like queer folks and stuff that I was seeing that wanted a couples therapist that knew what they deal with, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
different dynamics.
Right.
So then, when we talk about specialties, right, a lot of people focus on a diagnosis type of specialty, like anxiety, OCD, and then, there's a specialist as far as like couples or family. But it seems to me with you, or tell me if I'm wrong, like how would you define your specialty? Is it the LGBTQ plus community as your specialty, or is it, how would you explain your specialty? Yeah,
I do, right. I do feel like, especially, I have the most experience with, I see a lot of trans folks now, and as well as, the history with, and currently work with a lot of gay men. And then, the LGBTQ folks and HIV, I still say that. I'm trained in prolonged exposure. I went out to the University of Pennsylvania and took that, so it's like, which isn't as common as EMDR and stuff, but it's, it's trauma work, so, I do utilize that. I do a fair amount.
Can you tell me more about the prolonged exposure?
Yeah, it's basically like the way in which you do, like, you might do a trauma narrative. It's sort of, similar type of, evidence-based practice where you're sort of exhausting the emotion. You simultaneously create a hierarchy of traumatic and anxiety-provoking things that you need to do in your life to test yourself, to kind of expose yourself to. And then simultaneous to that, you come and similar to my understanding of the EMDR, you'll come out with like a narrative of like one of your trauma experiences that's the most salient, and then you process it, and then you'll look at like hot points and parts that are the most anxiety provoking, and then just continue to process it. And if you're doing it strict to adhering to the model, you actually like tape it and you listen to the tapes and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't always get that hard nosed about it, but that is something that you can do. And is kind of part of it. So.
Okay, so that reminds me of like something one would use for OCD or anxiety. But so it seems like you combine it with anxiety and trauma.
Yeah.
Am I understanding that?
That is sort of how that works.
Okay, yeah. I see how that works. Cool.
So I do that, and then I do a fair amount of substance abuse work too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's hard. Is that hard?
That is hard.
Seems hard.
That is hard. I think there are a lot of barriers to those folks, one for one reason or another. So but I do feel like, especially with the more prevalence and familiarity with substances now, it's sort of like lots of folks could present with some degree of substance use and things that where it didn't always used to be that way.
Yeah, lots of now that marijuana is legal and gummies and all of that.
Right. Which is a complex thing. Some people, can do it in moderation, and some people really don't.
Right.
And, as I'm sure you will see.
Yeah, because I was talking with someone recently, and they were sober for like many years, and not partaking in anything. Wow. And then, because I guess is that the AA model of like strict nothingness, and then just started to try and figure out what they could do, like in moderation or only in certain situations. And they've learned that they're able to do that. But, I guess it's just, again, this kind of moderation or the middle of the road pathway, I guess.
Sure. I do feel like a lot of people experiment with like that aspect, or however they feel about like the faith-based part of 12-step stuff too, like whether that's for them or not.
Yes,
or,
right. Kind of so it's nice to have, I guess, an alternative to the faith-based places.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Well, the other thing I try to do a lot when I do substance abuse work, I definitely try to adhere to like a harm reduction sort of model. So I meet people where they're at, and I don't yeah, as I'm sure most of us do as therapists, but sometimes people are scared off by thinking like, right this minute I have to set the drugs down and never do them again,
right.
and that really freaks them out.
Yes.
As opposed to just meeting them.
Right, because then they're like, well, what am I going to use how am I going to manage these emotions if I can't have whatever? Yeah, so that's good.
When sometimes, stopping cold turkey isn't necessarily the healthy option. Like sometimes that's not. I don't know. I think like with alcohol, I think it could be a dangerous thing to come off of alcohol, just cold turkey sometimes.
Sure.
If your body's really used to that.
Yes.
Obviously, I don't know a ton about it.
As you can tell,
I know some, but
I know that I like wine.
I understand why I like beer.
Yeah.
Well, and just what you've shared about the prolonged exposure therapy and just your different models, when you notice your couples couples and individuals, just your clients in general, when you notice them healing, like how do you see clients heal in your sessions, or what does that look like?
Okay. Well, I was thinking about this, and I did. One of my colleagues had me do like a little in-service training about living with HIV some years ago, and I came up with an exercise where I had everybody that I sort of modeled on one that I'd heard about, but I tweaked it a bit, and I had everybody draw a picture of like how they see their HIV status, and try to like really embody like the negative aspects of what they really like hate about living with HIV and stuff like that, and then I had them give it to me. And I'll turn it over to me, and I told them that I would take it home, and we had a wood burning fireplace at the time. Oh. And I told them that I'd take it home and burn it, which I did. And unfortunately couldn't do that there, but but I told them I'd take care of it. But I've always thought of visualize that kind of thing as like as like sharing a burden or giving or giving it to some degree, giving it to me too, letting me share and that, and sort of allowing me to help them. And I feel like I've experienced that like with my own therapy too over the years, where it's like, it's nice to be able to know that someone else can handle your stuff and just sort of be able to air it out and let it go.
And not be afraid of it, or it's not too much. And that's so thoughtful. And then the visualization of either the words out there, if they're artists, they could draw, and then handing it to you, and you burn it up.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Right. It would be nice to have a fireplace in the office just for that purpose.
I've always thought that, but you can't really find that without going yourself.
Right.
We're not there yet.
Dreams, right?
Yeah. Is that a goal? Do you plan to build a space?
I don't exactly know. I mean, we're happy with, for right now, we just expanded.
Yeah, I heard.
So we are happy. We're happy with that. We've got four therapy rooms and a waiting room now, whereas we just used to have only one therapy room.
Oh, wow, you have expanded.
Yeah.
Awesome. So does that mean you brought in some more people?
Yes, we have, my partner Megan does licensure supervision for marriage and family therapists, and and some people have been coming out of the pipeline that she had supervised and things like that. And so we now have two other therapists. One is they're both pre-licensed. One is further along where she's working on her licensure hours, and they're both employees now. So we're hoping to, in addition to her supervisees. So we're hoping to keep that going, maximize that first. Maybe we're trying to take it in stages,
right?
But we have the group practice sort of to a point where we'd like to, eventually maybe have another person or two, or like a full-time employee or two if possible.
Nice. So I totally hijacked that healing. I want to go back to the healing.
Okay.
Side room.
Yes, it happened. So you would take it and then burn it, and when you came back and met with the clients after that, what did you see? From the
I feel like it seemed like they felt seen, and felt like, I feel like they connected with me more. I feel like that sort of intensified like the rapport that we had, the fact that they saw that. I think with marginalized communities, I feel like there's a lot of times there's this sort of fear that like someone in a helping field might not really relate to them, or might not have the same struggles that they've had, or that kind of thing, which is understandable. But I feel like, with those types of exercises, and when I've sort of demonstrated to people that I have competencies or willingness to meet them where they're at and hear their story, I feel like they've been a lot more responsive to that, and that's what I noticed with that.
Yeah. It sounds to me that them just knowing that you're listening and supporting them, and they might not always have that.
Sure.
Yeah. And so
you
can
didn't
offer that. Yeah. Oh, that's, yeah. I'm just trying to think of where to go from there, really.
Well, I know you also
Tell us
had in
more.
your bio too that you do like public speaking and you do other things like that too. What kinds of things, like for public speaking? Where do you go? What do you do? What do you talk about?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I've done. My partner has been the president of the St. Louis Marriage and Family Therapy Association in town, and there's a whole lot of membership, but then a smaller sect of people that usually show up to face-to-face meetings. And but we do take turns a lot of times presenting, and that sort of was a jumping off point for me because I'd never done public speaking before. Doing some presentations there.
Do you enjoy it, public speaking?
Not really. I did it to test myself. I like it more now.
Yes.
It was a growth sort of growth opportunity. But I've then spoken at the Missouri Counseling Association. I spoke at their conference in the Ozarks, and then I did I always forget the name of it. I really shouldn't. The Mental Health Association. They have two. No. I think it's M.
Oh, MIA.
MIA, yeah. MIMH, maybe. Yeah. I should know.
We should. All of us should.
But anyway, they have two conferences a year, I believe, that they do that are big ones where they have golf. I presented there too, and I did an LGBT primer, working with LGBTQ clients, and I did the last time I did a several hour one, which was cool. And it's really helped me appreciate. Sometimes, like a lot of us, I'm a perfectionist and I'm self-conscious, and I'm really getting to see that how much I do know and how much I have accomplished is something that I don't always take stock of. So it was nice to be able to be like, hey, I actually have this knowledge and other people can benefit from it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, so.
Yeah, we do have knowledge. And experience. Yeah. So how about your own healing? And because I think on some level, even if we haven't had, I just think all of us have healing and things that happen in our life. So how do you heal yourself? What do you do for you?
Well, in terms of healing and self-care, I do, most recently our big collaborative hobby that the two of us have is we've gotten into rock hounding stuff, and so we go and collect, we go mine for crystals.
Hounding. Is that what you said? Hounding.
Yeah, so we mine for crystals, different places and stuff. We go up to Canada for some of these amethyst mines that we go to, and some quartz stuff down in Arkansas, and we do a lot of. For a while, I did some kind of spiritual exploration about how I felt about all that, but I'm still too cynical for that. But I do I just like the beauty of it, and I find beautiful things like that relaxing and soothing. So so we enjoy that. It's one thing that both of us do as a couple and together, and I enjoy that as a form of self-care. And I feel like anything I've ever had to let go of myself, I feel like taking the time to really calm down and relax, because I know like you said earlier, I have a calm kind of presence and I appear that way, but I also am kind of internally a little different, sometimes a lot different than that. So it's nice to take time to I love soothing warm water type stuff, like steam rooms and saunas and hot tubs and stuff like that, and I like massage and things like that. I enjoy things like that. I feel like utilizing stuff like that has helped me.
Coziness kind of thing.
Holding sort of.
Do you have a hot tub or a steam room at home or something?
No, but I usually belong to a gym, even though I don't work out all that much. But I tend to go there for that reason.
For the hot tubs and the steam rooms. Yeah, I would do that.
So yeah, that's always been a big self-care thing. But yeah, I mean, I do have things that I would say that, and not in an informed way, I feel like I've chosen some of the clients that I've worked with over the years for client populations because of things that I've gone through in my life that I feel like was able to either inform my work or I grew as a result of being like, hey, I'm going to work with these folks and help empower them. So, yeah, I feel like that my work has helped me grow and helped me heal from some things as well.
Are you comfortable talking a little bit more about things that might have happened when you were younger that guided you?
Sure.
Yeah, because right, you would be a cisgender man.
That's right.
And so, so I guess, maybe I'm stereotyping or something here, but
Okay.
I guess I wouldn't think of a cisgender man wanting to necessarily work with gay, HIV positive people. So I'm curious of what guided you there.
Okay. Well, I think, oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of, I always tell people that, I've had kind of my own journey, and I sort of say that I feel like I have a little piece of, like along the gender spectrum. I feel like I'm very,
More fluid?
not a little bit. I have a little bit of the gender nonconforming thing. I'm not kind of like a stereotypical, straight man, and kind of how my interests and what I tend to do and stuff like that. And also, so in terms of both the gender piece and my sexual orientation, I feel like I've debated, but it's like I don't know that I'd necessarily change the label, but
Right.
but I definitely have some degree of like
Okay.
same-sex attraction or whatever.
Okay, thank
So I feel like I've struggled with how I should exactly term it,
you.
but I definitely have enough of a frame of reference that I'm not like completely someone that couldn't get where clients might be.
Okay, yeah.
I would say.
Thank you for sharing.
I think a lot of what I go through or have gone through, I think, especially related to the LGBTQ folks, is, I have some sort of, I don't know, I might call it like religious trauma light kind of experience in my childhood. And I feel like a lot of that sort of absolutist kind of fundamentalist view of folks of diverse folks that may not fit the mold, that type of mold.
Right.
I
Kind of
really
where my question came
struggle
from,
with that.
right? My question
Right.
kind of came from that
Mhm.
that mold of like one or the other, right? And so, thanks for reminding me about the fluidity of gender and who we are as people, and yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
that's
Sure thing. But anyway, that's sort of what I've kind of had to struggle with or heal from in my life. I feel like that sums up a lot of what it has been. It's just sort of seeing things in a more pluralistic, whole way, and helping other people see it that way too.
Yes. Yes. And so, so your healing is
warm up the rocks, right?
and water.
I also like food a little more than
No, don't shit on yourself. It's delicious. Food is delicious. Yeah.
Have you ever done a saltwater, like those floats?
I have.
Yeah.
I've tried the one in Midtown before. I like it.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Oh,
Last time, because
Yeah,
that's
we
where
did
I like
mention
to go for my birthday.
That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
I remember you said that.
Yeah,
I've been there before. Yeah, I like that.
It's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But isn't that water kind of cooler, or maybe it's
It's not hot
It's
water,
not hot, right?
but it's salt water, so you just float there.
yeah.
Mhm.
Would you ever do one of those cold plunges, or have you?
I've been to. There's actually this really cool place that a friend of mine and I like a lot. That's in Chicago. It's a lot of spa type places will have a cold plunge that you utilize just to cool off. But there's this place it's called King Spa, and it's a Korean-owned Korean spa that has separate hot tub and steam room areas, but then it has these crazy, like, I can't even really describe them, but they're all sauna. It has like 8 different saunas that are all like, one is like a Native American sweat lodge. One of them is like full of amethysts. One of them has like salt on the floor. And they're
like
They're themed saunas.
And they're all the sweat lodge one is really, really hot, and then they also have a cold room as well. So anyway, plunge there.
Okay, yeah.
So, and a lot of times those things are so hot that you're ready to get in.
Yeah.
You can get in 50-degree water for 5 seconds or 10 seconds.
I don't know if I could do those cold plunges and sit in.
Well, the shock too. Is it almost like a shock to the system of like really hot to really cold, and it feels kind of awakening or something?
I do feel like that's sort of rejuvenating or awakening or that sort of thing. But yeah, that contrast. Yeah.
Yes, I am curious about the rock helmet.
Yeah.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you
What
like
does it
have
mean?
a?
Okay.
I have this vision of my head of the guy from the Rudolph cartoons.
Okay.
What was his name? With
Cornelius.
Cornelius. Did you
Yeah.
ever watch?
He's always
It's
looking for
been so
gold.
long. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has like one of those hatchet or
Like one of those
Pickaxe.
prospector pickaxe sort of
Do you
thing.
use a pickaxe to?
We've used stuff like that, or we've tried painting. We've tried painting for gold, but we
Okay,
thought
so
it was
it's-
boring.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of the mines that we've gone to more involve like digging, or or they'll have like an excavator, like we've been to a few like actual working mines where they'll excavate stuff and they dump it out,
and
then you can go through the tailing piles of what they just scraped out.
Oh, okay.
So then you can kind of just go through and look for what you find.
Because isn't there an amethyst one like down south here, or it's not too far? Because my son he loves amethyst as well, and rocks and things like that.
Okay.
And we looked up that there's I don't know, 4 hours or 5 hours away where you can.
That's not. I hadn't heard of that.
Okay.
The
I'll
closest
look
things
into it.
I know, it's possible.
Yeah.
The closest ones we know of are we've been to Thunder Bay, Canada 3 times, and they have I think four mines there, and we've had a fun time just driving up there and driving over the border and going to it. So,
Yeah. Interesting.
But we go and my partner has longer hang time. She's a lot more patient than me. So I always joke that sometimes we're going to these beautiful places and I'm like asleep on the banks of this river and she's like looking for another 2 hours.
You're like, I'm done with it.
But I do enjoy the getting back to nature, and I do like her looking for rocks. I'm just not. She's super passionate.
Yeah.
But we both like it, and we're eventually. She just bought some a workbench and some like a flat lap where you can like sand and polish things.
Oh yeah.
So eventually she makes her own jewelry. So and I have some degree of interest in that because we both really like jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about maybe trying to maybe even like make some cabs for like rings or pendants or or use some. So we have enough of the tools now that we could do. So,
Oh wow, that's exciting.
Bonus.
Yeah.
right. Mm-hmm.
Have you found any good stones?
We have. We found some like larger amethyst points that are pretty impressive and
Well, your hands were like
right.
Good size, yeah.
Right. We found there's a place called Haunted Ridge down in Washington County, Missouri that has druzy quartz, which I wasn't familiar with until we started doing this. But it's sort of like a lot of them are sort of rounded with like a lot of crystal face and faceting to them. But a lot of them tend to be like, I think it turns to be droidal, but it's like, you end up with like these round parts a lot of times that are really crystallized and quartz looking. And we found things there that are like, as big as like maybe like a plate that's like maybe this big.
Wow.
Or like a big boulder that's like this. So we have we have way too many rocks.
Well, do you I don't know how to say this exactly, but prescribe to the idea of the healing powers of crystals and like those kinds of
That
things.
was kind of what I was saying that I kind of dabbled in. I had kind of a little spiritual exploration phase where I was kind of interested in all that. But I definitely don't begrudge anybody who believes in any of that. And I think that's fascinating. But at the same time, I don't really believe that myself.
It doesn't speak for you. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm more just like the beauty and the earthiness of it. I guess to some degree I do like the energy aspect of it, but maybe not to the degree that someone that's really into that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the idea that that this is something from the earth and and stuff like that has this beauty and it's sort of captivating.
Yes. Yeah.
And beauty on the inside too. On the outside it might just look ordinary, and then you crack it open and you're like, oh,
that's true.
Just like us.
right,
Human beings, right? What a
True.
metaphor.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like because we've gone. I don't know if you, but there are geodes. There are a lot of geodes that you can find up in this Fox River that's in Iowa, but it's between Iowa and Missouri. And we met a guy who did like guided trips there, and we've gone to a couple there. And he'll find you like really good ones, and he has like a cracker where he can crack them open and stuff.
Oh,
and
cool.
you know, we've gotten some really awesome ones. We have a lot of really nice geodes from that. So yeah, I do. That does resonate with me. The idea of like what's inside when it's this ugly, terrible looking rock, but then you crack it open and it's amazing.
Yes. Who is the comedian with Tig? They're on their podcast, Handsome Podcast.
May Martin or Fortune Feimster.
Fortune Feimster. I think she's a rock.
Okay.
I think she got into rock hounding or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So look into it.
Her name sounds a little familiar.
Well, she's hilarious.
She's hilarious.
Okay.
Yes, she has blonde curly hair.
Okay.
And she's funny. She used to be with Chelsea Handler.
Okay.
On her show a long time ago.
All right.
Check her out. She's funny.
I will. And she may be into that.
She might be into rats.
Yes. You might run into her somewhere.
We might have a rat exploring her.
So, are we to the glimmers part?
I think, yeah.
Glimmers.
Recent
Right?
glimmers.
Where a glimmer, right, is something that you're able to recognize that you've grown. And you're like, oh, look at what I've done. I've grown. Or you've felt some positive energy and calmness and joy.
Yeah, like in the moment.
Yeah.
Being able to have that perspective of like, oh, this is a great moment.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any recent glimmers?
Well, professionally, I feel like I've had a couple of people that without saying too much about their personal cases, of course, but I've had a couple of people that were really at a precipice of like needing to make change and wanting to make change, where they finally went ahead and came out to like their family members. Well, one of them did. One of them finally is getting a divorce that I'm really excited about, which is funny.
I know,
And,
right?
and things like that, where it's like I feel like we really worked together on this. I mean, obviously they did the work, but to some extent. But that's been once again, like I said, some of my work personally has been just like giving myself as much credit as a person should for what I'm doing. So I'm coming into my own a lot more now, where I really feel like, okay, I spent a long time really striving, trying to network and trying to grow the practice and stuff. And now it's really kind of where I always wanted it and stuff like that. So I think lately that's been hitting me a lot more, where I'm kind of just taking stock of, hey, this is in a lot of ways the life that I always wanted, and now I have it. I don't have to work so hard.
Oh, that's a wonderful glimmer to be like, here I am, doing what I love, and you're good at it, and yes. Oh, well, yeah. You? Do you have a glimmer?
Well, I was following.
Something touched you.
Oh, I was thinking something touched you.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, maybe. I mean, so thinking about, like you were talking about in your work, right? And so that was making me think about glimmers within my work. And so recently, I do mostly emotionally focused therapy with my couples.
Right.
And so I've been really trying to hone my skill on really finding the emotion in the room, kind of in the small ways, and really like bringing it to the surface or bringing it to their attention, right? And so I've had some sessions where at the end of the session I was like, I really did that, right? Like I noticed this person have like move a little, or I noticed this person look away, and I was able to, comment on it and bring it to them, and then them kind of be able to put meaning around that of like, oh yes, this happens at home. When this happens here, this is what I do, right? And for them to be able to see that and how small the emotions can be, how small the reactions can be, and how much meaning can be behind that. Like, so
I guided that.
Yeah, I got to help with that. Yeah, to like bring that up. And so at the end of those sessions, just sitting there and being like, that felt good, right? It wasn't like this big, huge, groundbreaking like session where it was like woohoo, but it was like, wow. Those moments felt good. So that's what I was thinking of.
That's good. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Glimmer, glimmer, glimmer. I am not prepared for my glimmer. I guess I'm reflecting on the past week, and I think there was a glimmer of it was more of an aha moment. instead of, say, a glimmer of just recognizing where I want to grow as just a person. And I think it's more about being open to accepting help from other people.
Okay.
Because I can be a bit of a control freak. So yeah, and when we were in Montreal, up there with my friends, 50, yay!
Yeah.
My at my friend's place, she made a fire pit, right? And she had it all set up, and we got to write down things that we were wanting to release, and then things that we were welcoming in. And so that ceremony really kind of helped me hone in of like, okay, this aha moment of I'm releasing this, but at the same time, I'm also going to accept this help. So yeah, there's something to that ritual of burning things, you know?
Well, I was going to say real quick.
Yeah,
please.
go ahead.
We probably will definitely go again, but for a while we've gone to Burning Man a couple of times.
Oh,
and I don't know how much I need to backstory on that, but basically so I do like fire a bit. But
you like
I like
heat,
fire
man.
and heat. Yes, I do. But one of the things that I feel like in terms of like we love animals and we have a lot of pets and one of the things at the end of Burning Man, there are usually two major burns, as they call them. Okay. They burn the effigy of the man who was the founder, Larry, who was the founder of Burning Man, and then there's a temple. Every year there's a temple that they create with different kind of aesthetic principles and stuff. Every year they're all different, and they burn the temple on the last day. And the significance of the temple is usually like. It's supposed to be like a cathartic healing thing for people, and what people will do is, it's open to everybody for the whole week, and you can go in and leave, like if you lost a loved one or something like that. Like we saw, like a woman got divorced and she put like her wedding dress in there, or different things like that, or people can put like whatever they want. It is I always thought of it as a spiritual place to go and have experience. So then this temple, is it like a building size? Yeah, it may be. Yeah, I mean, it's probably. I'd say it's the size of the average like church or cathedral or something. It's big. It's real big. Yeah. So but the last time we went, we really took advantage of bringing, because we lost two of our cats during the pandemic, and we had the other ones that died too, and so we brought keepsakes and mementos from them, and put it in there. And I felt like that was a really neat thing, when they burn. And well, there's the kind of the like once they burn the stuff, they let you like they have fire keepers and stuff. But then once it's more safe, they let people like come and kind of mill around. You can like stand around it while it's burning and stuff, and you can get really close to it. So it's sort of like you can really sort of commune with that whole experience and hang out with it. And so that was really cool and healing, because I think during the pandemic you're just sort of tunnel vision. We're just all trying to get through it, and we're isolated. Yeah. So I really felt like that particular exercise I feel like was really healing for both of us, and was a good way to kind of express that particular grief that we had at that time. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I've always been curious about the Burning Man. It's fun. It's hard scrabble. It's it's hot and the dust there. People think it's sand, but it's actual like clay dust. So it's dirty. It's hot and it's dirty. It's like, is it like a festival where you camp and you do all? Yeah, and a lot of people bring RVs there, but you can also tent camp or camp in your car. Okay. We don't have an RV, but what we usually do is rent a big SUV. And then we'll sleep in the SUV. And that's what we've done so far. That sounds amazing. Eventually we'd like an RV someday, but I mean, it's going to ruin whatever car you have. I mean, it's going to get real dirty. Yeah, so you rent one and then... Yeah. and do our best to clean it. I feel a little bad what some of them look like even after we try to detail. You're like, sorry. Don't kill us. Yes. Yeah, so warmth. And once fire and burning. Yes. I didn't know that was going to come out this way. You don't know. That's why we love this so much. I know. This podcast. We learned so many interesting things about our guests. It's so and cool. Ourselves on some level, too. Right. Or areas of growth of, I really need to reflect on, I don't know,
things.
Yeah, just anything.
Yes.
Well, it makes me. I'm like, ooh, thinking to fall time. I have a fire pit in my backyard. Maybe I'll have a moment. We can kind of all bring some things and
That'll be fun.
have a ceremony. That'd
Oh,
be
we
kinda
could
cool.
do like a
That would be
networking noms or something evening
in the backyard.
in the backyard.
Yeah,
With fire.
I would like that.
Yeah,
Get
that
some
sounds
sage and we can smudge
Cool.
people.
Sure.
We can do research and figure out.
Yes.
We can invite Barry back and he can do some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you a good fire person?
I'm fairly good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I more appreciate than I'm not. Yeah, I'm good enough. I'm good at maintaining and getting it.
Together we'll figure it
We'll
out.
all work it out. We'll bring our skills.
Right.
I'll appreciate or help.
Right.
Well, cool. Yes.
Well, and the last
have
part, the last part is you get to pick a question out of here. We don't even know what they are.
Did you
And-
pull the other one, like the used ones out?
Oh, I don't know if Edie put it back in.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, if it's one we repeat it, we'll pick another one. But we all answer it.
All right.
And
this is
The same one.
Nope, go
No,
ahead.
you're good. You're good.
Okay.
So you get to read it aloud and then say your answer, and then we'll answer as well.
Okay.
They're not real personal.
They're fun.
What do you do on your commute to and from work?
Oh, okay. Easy.
All right.
Yeah.
Sure. I usually, I've been trying to listen to more audiobooks. I love music. I've been learning to play guitar recently, so I've been. That's a nice little growth thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do listen to a lot of music, but at the same time, I've been trying to do more audiobooks, and I feel like I can get through a lot. Even though I live in the city and I work in the
I was
city,
gonna say,
it's
how
not that
long's your-
long of a commute. It's
Yeah.
only a 10-minute commute. But I find I drive a lot more than I even realize. So I've been trying to listen to more books.
What are you listening to now? Can you share?
I'm doing this horror book club at Left Bank Books.
Oh yeah.
It's called
I
Reader
love
Be-
these books.
I do too. And it's called Reader Beware. And
Fun.
and it's fun. And so I'm listening to Mother Thing, which is an interesting book for that, which is about this the haunting of this deceased mother-in-law, and the narrator is really sort of like BPD kind of situation, so it's really emotionally intense kind of stuff. And it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So yeah, I'm listening to that, and I'm also listening to Mary Trump, Donald Trump's niece, her expose tell-all book. I'm listening to that, which is interesting,
She's a
sort of like how all this
psychologist,
evolved.
right?
Yeah, she's a clinical
that's
psychologist.
interesting.
Yeah, it's good.
Does she specialize in narcissism?
She definitely knows plenty about it. She has a lot to say about it. But, yeah, so that's been cathartic to hear about that and hear that validated, especially by a family member of his too.
Right.
I've been enjoying that.
Yes, that is fun. My commute is sporadic, in that when I start driving, I know that's best to have everything ready to go and focus on driving. However, I go and I'm like, which song do I want to listen to? I'm pushing buttons and I'm moving things, and so that takes a good 5-7 minutes for me to figure out, do I want to listen to the news? Do I want to listen to a radio station or a podcast? So I'm fiddling for a while, and I typically just land on it and listen. So, or no, you know what? Lately I've been listening to on Sirius XM, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
Well, I heard that's funny.
It is funny, and I don't know if they're new or repeat, but he had on, oh God, who did he have on? I was laughing out loud. What is his name? He was on that TV show. This is my brain. Who also wrote Seinfeld and had a TV show.
Larry David.
Larry David. He was Larry David's roommate. Smooth. Anyway,
In the show?
yeah. Well, that actor who plays Larry David, who's the roommate, it was on the show.
Okay.
I can't think of his name,
Oh,
but
okay.
oh my God, hilarious. So
Okay.
if I could tell you the guy's name, you could look it up, but I can't. So
Okay.
but
We can add it to
Conan
show
O'Brien-
notes later,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yes. But Conan O'Brien, man, I'm laughing out loud.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
funny.
check it out.
Yeah, check it out. How about you?
I'm kind of in between both of. Sometimes I'll listen to NPR. Sometimes I'll listen to music. A lot of times I like to put on some songs and just like sing really loud while I'm driving and just like and I've been listening to a lot of Taylor Swift because my daughter is a Swiftie.
Yes.
But I also like to listen to books and I like to listen to podcasts, so I'm always listening to something.
Yes.
And my husband makes fun of me because a lot of times, because I'm also in a book club, I do too much, obviously. But if there's a book that's, like if my book club meeting is coming up soon and I haven't finished the book, I'll listen to it at like 2.0 speed. And it's like, and if Michael hears it, he's like, oh my gosh, that is not relaxing. Like, how are you, why are you even doing that? I'm like, well, I'm not doing it for the relaxing purposes. I'm doing it for the, I want to finish the book purpose. So mine, it depends on the day. Yes, but that's the long one.
I always laugh that, I don't know if you remember that Short Circuit movie from the 80s.
Yes.
But I always laugh thinking about the input thing when Johnny Number 5 would try to read as much as he possibly could.
Yes.
As fast as he could.
Good
I always feel
recall.
like I'm that.
Yeah, that's good.
So much to learn. Yes.
So, our last thing, what do you have to promote? Do you have space for clients? Do you have
Yes.
anything coming up?
All four of us are currently taking new patients. I'm a combination of virtual and in person. Megan is all virtual, but she's a sexual trauma therapist. So that's all she does pretty much is see sexual trauma folks.
Okay, good to know.
And then we have Jordan and Michaela. Like I said, they've been doing a lot of work with queer kids and families. And we have one of the rooms we have in our new space is an art space that has like all mats and cushions on the floor. So it's kind of a fun space that kids could go and do play therapy there. So that they've been doing that there. So we do kids and families, queer kids and families, and they're taking folks. And I always tell people, if you ever have, I know some people have PLPCs in their practice too and stuff, but they both need hours, so we definitely like if you need lower fee people, they all have reduced fees, and and they need to see people for their hours. So they love business.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
We'll start sending people that way.
Sounds
For sure.
good.
Yes. Yay.
Well, I was thinking we have that Radiant Resilience Theramama in October. Yeah, it's a symposium or it's a weekend CEUs.
Therapists and moms.
Yeah, it's more
or mom
moms.
therapists.
Yeah.
Therapists who are moms. One of those.
Yes,
It's great though.
yes.
Okay.
But we are doing an hour talk with therapist moms at that in October.
In October.
Cool.
Yes. And you might do an affirmation booth.
That is right. I might.
Yes.
Novus Health which is down by Crondelet Park on
right over here.
Grand.
Yeah.
It's their event. So I believe it's going to be in Clayton, but I forget the venue. But it's their Novus Health event in October, I think the 19th.
Okay. Awesome.
Yay.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes.
It's been
It
fun.
was great. Thank you. All right.
Bye.
See you next time.
Bye. All right. Let's hope that it was recording, right? Yeah.
It better have been.
Oh my God, our first one, Barry, we had to redo.
Oh no.